Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on mysterious and weird, true stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 604, written by tlbrown. Mr. Mandela strikes again. About 2 blocks to the left of my mother-in-law's house, there is a daycare, or at least there was, until yesterday. A year ago, we lived right across the street from her, and I remember seeing little kids walking home from the school with their moms and backpacks on. I vividly remember the sign out front, which had a rainbow and sun on it. When I was driving to her house from a different way than I'd usually come, I used the daycare as a landmark to know my turn was coming up, since I've missed the turn in the past. I've even turned down the road right after the daycare by mistake a couple times in the beginning. The point is, I know this daycare was there, and it's not something I would just forget or mistake for its location. My husband and I were discussing daycare options for our son yesterday when I said, "What about the one right down the road from your parents?" He had no idea what I was talking about, and I didn't understand why, because he and his family have lived there for many years. He brought it up to his parents when we picked up our son, and they had no idea what I was talking about either. His mom walks everywhere, so I thought for sure that she would know what I was talking about, but didn't. We drove up and down the road twice so I could show him the school that I was talking about, but it wasn't there. The whole building was replaced by others as if it never existed. The little parking lot, the rainbow sign, and little one-story building were gone and replaced by nameless buildings I do not recall. My husband thinks I'm just misremembering or mistaking its location, but I know I'm not, and can find no evidence of this daycare on Google. About 2 months ago is the last time I remember seeing the school physically, because I had to use it as my landmark reminder to turn. So as you can guess, I'm really having a hard time trying to comprehend or figure this out, even starting to question my sanity a bit. Why am I the only one that remembers this school? It just doesn't make any sense, and I can't think of any rational reason for this, because I know this is not something I'm just misremembering, as my husband likes to put it. Any theories? Case notes, file number 604. Yeah, I'm convinced now that the Mandela phenomena is nothing more than a side effect of quantum immortality. So we die, we get shifted to a new reality with minor differences, and in a sense we become gaslit by the universe's hidden mechanism. That daycare you think existed? It really did exist, in the universe you originate from. For whatever reason, in that one, you died. Now you're here, just another copy of yourself in physical form, among so many others, nearly an infinite amount. You've probably experienced other small anomalies too. And you know what? This really gives credence to my own theory that I did in fact die from a burst appendix as a teenager. Extreme pain for weeks, then suddenly it stopped forever. And now that I think about it, I do have a Mandela effect of my own, though I suppose it's common. Fruit Loops were always spelled as fruit, F-R-U-I-T, not F-R-O-O-T. What an abomination the latter is. That's not how you spell fruit. Case file number 605, written by viciousgrace. More money, please. I went to the mall today with my brother to buy sunscreen for an upcoming company beach trip. It's already the 30th of March, and I don't get paid until the 1st of April, so all I have in my wallet is 1,000 PHP, about 20 USD. I go and buy the sunscreen, just a 100mm tube for 300 PHP, and I have 700 left. We grabbed a quick snack, and I spent about 215 PHP on my meal and drinks. I should have 485 left, and as I was walking around the mall, I was very aware of this fact, since, there's so much nice stuff around that I would wanted to buy, but your girl was broke. After a bit of walking, we decided to sit down in one of the mall benches. There weren't a lot of people, so I felt safe opening my wallet and organizing my bills, which I had stuffed haphazardly in my wallet to avoid standing too long in front of the cashier. Oh hi, anxiety. As I was organizing my cash, I can see the $4.85 that I still have, 4 $100 bills of $50 and $35 and change. To my surprise though, I also see a $1,000 bill in there, tucked neatly in my wallet instead of haphazardly with the rest of the money. Now, if this was a mistake with the change I was given, it should have been with the rest of the crumpled bills I just shoved into my wallet, since I didn't take the time to properly slip any of those in. But this bill was laid out neatly in one of the folds of my wallet, and it looks exactly like the $1,000 bill I originally had before I spent it. The bill was kinda old, not crisp, but not too worn down either, but has obviously changed hands a bunch of times. So I thought to myself, is it possible I had $2,000 instead of just $1,000? But honestly, no. I don't know if any of you guys do this at the end of the month, but I anxiously count my cash before payday, hoping I don't run out before I get paid. Hoping the money multiplies on its own somehow, which now is a funny thought. So I know for a fact I only had that $1,000 left and nothing more. I would have chalked this up to me just being absent-minded, which isn't something I usually am anyway, if not for the fact that the $1,000 I spent and the one I'm now convinced reappeared in my wallet felt exactly like the same bill. I didn't look too closely at it to begin with, to be honest, but what are the odds I have this same semi-worn down bill in my wallet when I am absolutely sure I only had one left? What kind of glitch in the matrix is this? And can it happen more often, and to people who absolutely need it? Please, universe? Bonus file, written by Digital D91. Family should always look after each other. My story starts December 25th, 2020. All day as I celebrated Christmas with my wife and our 2 kids, I felt off as if something was wrong. At one point, while letting our dog outside, I heard someone say my name outside, and when I turned around, I was the only person out there. But this has not been uncommon for me throughout my life. It just happened multiple times this day, which was not normal. As the day progressed, I felt more worn down. I carried a few things down to our basement from Christmas, and I was whipped. The kids woke us up around 5 a.m., like most 11 and 8-year-olds do on Christmas morning. So we were all tired and ready for bed just after 8 p.m. So we all went to bed as we did every night, brushing our teeth, saying prayers, and then saying our goodnight. This is where things take a turn for the worse. At around 3 a.m., I sat straight up out of bed, looked at my wife and asked her why she shook me and what was wrong. She claimed that she was sleeping and never touched me. I had severe pain between my shoulders. I was shaking uncontrollably and overall very anxious. My wife and I agreed that due to it being early Saturday morning, that I could either wait until later in the day to go to urgent care, or because my back hurt so bad, I could go to the ER to get checked out now. For other reasons that I will get back to, I decided to go to the hospital. Oddly enough, all the way to the hospital, I never got a red light or never saw another vehicle on the road. I arrived at that hospital, and they immediately started checking me out, as I was the only person in the waiting room. My pulse and heart rate were slightly elevated, but not alarming. Due to my symptoms, the doctor said even though I was only 38, he was going to run some tests, including an EKG, just to make sure that things were okay. The nurse came on, put the leads on me, and said, "Sir, you are having an active heart attack." She pressed a button on the wall, and before you knew it, there were a dozen people in my room with me, from ripping my clothes off me to get me into a gown to placing an emergency adhesive paddles on my chest just in case they had to shock me. I do remember someone standing over me and saying, "Don't worry, you are going to be okay. I'm here with you." Not to bore you with the next week's days of basically sitting in a hospital bed, I will tell you that I ended up having one stent placed over the lower left side of my heart. I had a blockage in one artery. My cardiologist said that I was lucky, that most people in my situation would have taken Tylenol or aspirin or something and gone back to bed and never woken up. He told me that I survived being a widowmaker. Fast forward to 8 weeks later, I returned to work. I work in home care and see patients in their homes. I had a doctor's order to go see a patient, and when I arrived, his wife answered the door. When she greeted me and opened the door, she said, "You've recently been through a traumatic experience." She said that she was a grievance counselor and she could feel the energy around me. She told me that my grandmother was with me the whole time and was watching over me. She died in the 80s. Keep in mind that this is the first time that I had met this woman. She continued to say that my grandma didn't want my family to experience the same grief that her and her mom felt. My grandfather died of a heart attack at age 39. As my eyes swelled and tears ran down my cheeks, I realized who shook me in my bed and woke me, whose voice it was who told me to get up, that something was wrong, who was standing over me in the emergency department telling me that I would be okay. I was overcome with emotion. I don't know why I deserved the second chance, but it was given to me, and I'm doing everything I can to make the best of it. There's obviously more details, but that will be for another day.